Hello friends. It's James once again, and it's time for your bedtime story. It's been a while. I've been a little bit busy and a tad bit under the weather, and I've been thinking over these last few days that this book was written 11 years ago, actually. And a lot of the anger and a lot of the rage and a lot of my passion in this book is actually really old. So as I share these things with you, I want you to know that this book was written over many, many years and in a process of understanding. And it's so funny now as I read some of these chapters that seem rather angry, how much I've changed and how much God has softened my heart and made me understand things that used to cause frustration and pain. It's amazing what a little bit of time will do to season us all. Well, tonight I want to read to you from the chapter called Judgment Day. And why don't I just jump right in? Judgment Day. What a daunting thought. More frightening than a tax audit, more unsettling than a Senate hearing, lawsuit, deposition, religious inquisition, or even an intervention. Hi, I'm James, and I'm an alcoholic. This is that final day where you stand cowering before the wrath of an angry God, where they'll be hell to pay for all the things that you've done wrong. And for many of us, that list will be quite long. I mentioned in the table of contents that you're going to have to wait and see on this one, and that may be the truest thing that I've written. Nobody knows for sure what that last day will hold, as we stand naked and alone in front of a pure and sinless God. If you're a fag, you've been told over and over just how sinful you are. You've heard nothing but sermon after sermon laced with anger and hate from all sorts of preachers and pastors and angry, smug bastards who somehow have become jury and judge, letting us all know of that long and painful road that we will have to trudge, that road to perdition. But if you can remember back to chapter 7, it's a chapter that I talked about what sin actually is. Sin isn't such a daunting thing. It just means missing the mark. In the Greek, the word harmatano, or sin, means missing the mark, and we all miss the mark all the time. In missing the mark, we're not hitting God's perfect plan, that idea he first intended when he created man. Adam missed the mark right out of the gate, and it wasn't his fault. It was Eve's mistake. Maybe he should have made Adam and Steve. Women, they can be so tricky. I hope you know that I'm kidding. And truthfully, the very people who keep screaming at us about our sin, well, they're missing the mark in different ways. The difference is, they're just not gay. But the bottom line is this: we all miss the mark until our dying day. In my last breath, I'll probably be coveting Vicodin and a fifth of bourbon to dull the pain. I've been nervous about writing this chapter. I'm not God, and I have no idea what he has in store. And I also know that this is the last chapter that I get to write. And these will be the final words that I leave with you, the words that will end this portion of our journey together. So I want these words to be perfect and true. So as I've been rolling this subject over in my mind, I realized last night that as the reader approaches Judgment Day, he'll undoubtedly be asking, so I've read almost 151 pages, and I still don't know if you think being gay is a sin or not. Oh, the joys of living next to a firehouse. Then it hit me. It doesn't matter. Not whether being gay is a sin or not, but it doesn't matter what I think. It only matters what God thinks. And although I can't begin to imagine everything that God thinks, even God changes his mind from time to time, like when he changed the essential dietary laws that I mentioned in the Peter Vision chapter. God knows he may have done it again. One thing I've discovered on this journey, it's not always black and white. Ultimately, this will be a decision that you have to make. I believe God has a special path for each of his sons and daughters, and when it comes to Judgment Day, we will be naked and alone as we approach this glorious, loving God who may or may not be sitting on a throne. He may be barefoot, sitting on the grass. Who knows? But instead of meeting a God of wrath, I know this for a fact. You will stand for the very first time in life, face to face with pure love. You will be overwhelmed by the fact that you are loved. You will be leveled by this force of love, and it will leave you breathless and addicted, wanting more. It will be the greatest high you've ever known, and it will be the first time in your life that you've ever felt at home. Because all your life you've been displaced. You have never, ever felt that you belong. And there's a reason for that. God has created you not to fit into the system that we have known, because he's created you your true and lasting home. An incredible place where you no longer need to roam. And that place can be right here, right where you are, because Jesus said the kingdom of God is now. And when I live in that perfect place of rest, where I learn to love myself and put my fear and loathing on the shelf, it can be heaven now. And all those words of judgment that you've heard screamed at you for your entire life will be simply washed away. They will be eradicated in his perfect light. It will be glorious, and like nothing Hollywood could ever paint on a shimmering silver screen, no matter how big the budget, no matter the director. It's beyond your wildest dreams and mine. Perfect love casts out all fear. And on that final day, as you stand in the presence of that perfect love, the last thing you will feel is queer. In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, you will be transformed. All the things you would have changed about yourself, your weight, your selfishness, your hate, your anger, your jealousy, your pettiness and greed, even the Grand Canyon of your fucking need, all of it will be wiped away, and the emptiness will be filled. The old man will be killed, and there in that moment, a new man will come to life. And this new man, this brand new you, will hear these words. Well done. Well done, my good and faithful friend. You didn't quit. You held out to the end. And the things that were broken, the things that were torn, are now the things that I will mend. And all of this will happen in the instant, in the presence of his perfect love. Well done. Well done, my good and faithful friend. Well, it is getting very late, and it is well past your bedtime. Until the next time that we get together, please know that you are exquisitely loved.